Inspiration Nation, hello, Lee Kemp here for the 4th anniversary show of Inspiration Nation. As always as you can for the 4th anniversary, with both Ryan Boniface and Jose Noya. How are we doing, guys?
Brilliant, thanks, Lee. Brilliant.
Yes, good, thank you, Lee. Good, thank you.
Very glad to hear it. Thank you everyone out there for listening, watching us, supporting us as we are now 4 years old. 14th of March 2019, the very first episode of Inspiration Nation. A superb interviewer, Lee Kemp, interviewing a adequate interviewee, Jose Noya, to kick us off for Inspiration Nation. The episode titled The Journey. This will be our latest journey update. If you have been supporting us, if you want to support us, at ListenToIn, ListenToin on Twitter, inspirationnation.org.uk, follow Joe, it's all over social media, most importantly, YouTube and TikTok, Jose Noya Inspiration Nation, and you can follow us live just like people are doing right now. Get involved with what we're doing, hit subscribe, and it will tell you when we are going and are in fact live. Long intro there. How are we doing, guys?
Yeah, you just asked that, didn't you?
Did I do that?
Good.
Did we say we're all right? I'm all over the place. I'm too excited because we are 4 years old. 4 years old.
It's brilliant, isn't it? Yeah.
So
absolutely brilliant.
Let's hazard a guess as to what we're talking about today. Would you like to guess, Jose?
The journey, right?
Indeed, the journey.
The journey of Inspiration Nation and where we are right now from the beginning. That's what I'm gathering.
And most importantly, what doing the podcast, what impact these last 4 years have had on your life. That's the angle I want to put on this update.
Oh, I wasn't expecting that. Okay, all right. Well, I'll leave it with you. You ask questions, and we'll ask questions of each other, I suppose. Is that the format? I'm not even know what the format is.
Yes. So on a podcast, generally one person will speak, probably ask a question.
Oh, okay.
This is it. It's all about the bands.
This is the 209th time we've done it, so I hope you'd work it out by now.
Well, steep learning curve, right?
He gets there. Oh, and I feel a bit again, it might be too much coffee, it might be not enough coffee, who knows. I feel slightly overexcited, and I think it is because of where we are now. So we are 209 episodes in, plus a handful of interviews that we've done with various people that sit on top of that number. 4 years consistently of doing this. We are live all over the place, countless downloads, countless views. On our Evan Carmichael scale, we are bang on track with where we want to be for our long-term growth plans. It's all very good stuff. I didn't even know that we'd make it to 4 years when we started, let alone that we'd be talking about as much success as we've had. So a very quick pat on the back to all of us and what we've been doing.
Can we do it then?
There we go. Ryan's got to give himself one as well.
Yeah,
you can see this live right now on YouTube. Get involved in the action. So that's the starter. So to get this going, so I don't stop rambling, we've probably lost loads of people now because I've not really kept us on track. But it's a party. This is what happens at a party.
Yeah.
So
totally.
I was having a conversation the other day with I was saying with my brother, one of my 6,000 brothers, and I mentioned something about the podcast, and he threw in, "Oh, are you still doing that?" So obviously he's an avid listener, which is fantastic as a start. And I talked about where we are with the growth and what we're doing and stuff like that. And actually he said more than that, it's probably what it's doing for you is the most important thing, having these sort of conversations every week. And I said to him, I said, absolutely. I said, and we've referenced this a few times, and I said to him, and I'll say to you guys now and everyone watching, listening, I would not be the person I am today without us doing this, without this half-hour conversation we have weekly, talking about different things, talking about inspiration, soundboarding ideas, everything we do, the thoughts that go with it. I generally don't think I would be as focused and productive and happy as I am today without doing this. And that's my headline takeaway from the last 4 years. And I genuinely mean that. And that's what we're trying to kind of impart to people through this.
Yeah, I see what I do see what you're saying, Lee. Yeah, absolutely.
Over to you, Jose. What are your thoughts on us being 4 years and what this means to you?
Honestly, I mean, obviously I've been on a coaching journey for the past 30 years. As I said to you before, it's taken me 30 years to get to this point. And, as I said, those 1 minute videos before the podcast, right? And then you come up to me, you just talked about, I'm going to repeat the story, but you come up to me and talked about, oh, because actually people on Instagram had said, oh, you should do a podcast. And I didn't know how to do a podcast or anything like that anyway. Then you reached out and you said, we should do a podcast. Well, I do a podcast. And Lee goes out and researches it. We've talked about this story before, but it's always worth repeating, especially on this episode. And it just started from there because I am really passionate about coaching. And how it's impacted me is that, one, it shows you can build things, and no matter how daunting you think it is, it can happen. And this is what's happening right now. And for me, this has impacted every area of my life, from my family to my work. In fact, even today, I'm training some people today, and they are watching and listening to the podcast, and they are really inspired by the things that we talk about. And even when this morning I went in, we talked about, opened up the training session, but we're talking about growth and how we do hard things and how, it's all a very individual journey. And I was talking about, I didn't reveal actually the things I talk about in the podcast. I'd like, if they want to know more about it, they can watch or listen to the podcast, but some have already. But I was talking about, things about growth and the things that I've learned, i.e., you know who you are. You, as I'm speaking to you right now, if you're listening or you're watching this, when you're on your own, you know what your fears and your doubts and what you think about yourself. And we talked about this morning in this training session I had. And because they're going through a difficult time, right? They're going through this whole training session. There's brand new skills. It's difficult. It's hard. But I said the true character of someone is when you're by yourself, on your own, and your brain knows your strengths, your weaknesses. It will test you, and the real you is what you say to yourself when you're by yourself. And I can honestly say that this podcast has really helped me become stronger, and I've built some great armor. And I was really scared about doing this stuff, going out on social media, doing videos, and that's what those 1 minute videos were, like building that strength, building that armor. And now this is me. I feel Inspiration Nation. There's nothing else. I wear my hoodies out to tennis. I am. I tell loads of people about it. I get excited about it. It's just made me stronger. It's made me more confident. It's made me more humble. It's made me more thoughtful about other people. It's just made me a better human being. And I've still got, and it's reminded me that I'm always a work in progress. And it's also reminded me, I'm still discovering things, but I know what my identity is in terms of I'm a coach. I want to help people grow. And it's really helped me define that. And it's helped me tap into what I really love to do. And it's these types of conversations I love to help coach people, get them to their next level, right? All these things are really important. Now, for you listening or watching, that's the personal work, right? No one can help. No one, you've got to do it. People can help, but you've got to step into it. And this has really helped me step into it and face those difficult things. And as you guys know, I've had some difficult things go on, right? Mental health, depression. I talked about in day one, episode 1. I lost my mum last year. All this stuff has helped me get through that. And I'm still painful, right? But this stuff helps, and I want it to help you, and I want to help you, and through this conversation we'll help each other, right? Because we're all human beings and reaching out. So that is the impact of this podcast. And what I've been so impressed with is that people are interacting much more all the time. There's loads of people out there that need this type of content, and that's what I love about it. So by us sharing our challenges, and actually when we fail, it inspires other people to get on board and try their hardest to be the best version of themselves. And that is what this is about. It's the everyday challenge. It's the everyday getting up every day and actually going again, trying to be a better version of yourself, but also celebrating your wins and celebrating success. So this for me, getting to the 4th anniversary and us being consistent is a celebration, and I think this is amazing. I hope that's answered. If I answer your question, Lee,
you absolutely have, Joe, in your unique, impassioned way, which we love. Ryan Boniface, the slightly youngest member of the team. I'd say you and me are quite close, and then Joe's a lot older. How has this been for you?
I think where I was 4 years ago was someone that I'm just not now. 4 years ago, I was begging for a leadership role, thought that the world owed me something, and really struggled to comprehend why I wasn't given the opportunity that I thought I deserved. 4 years later, I banged on the door hard enough. I got that opportunity, and I kind of proved why I deserved that chance in the first place. But I think what it's helped me understand is it's just given me emotional intelligence more than I ever thought that I'd ever need. It's just helped me understand that there are reasons behind every decision, and they may or may not be directly related to me. And that I need to just deal with the cards that I've been dealt rather than complaining about the cards that I've been dealt a lot of the time, which is kind of how I think maybe I was back in that time. I'd like to think I'm more conscientious. I'm more driven now, and I see things from a better perspective than what I did before we'd ever started sitting down and having these conversations. I think that I am, the line I want to say is more of a complete person, but that I don't think that'd be fair, because I'm not sure anyone really is a complete person. But I think having the skills and the emotional intelligence to understand what people need and when is a huge driver as to being a better person for the people around you. I think that's something that I've learned primarily through this podcast and over the last 4 years.
Love that.
I really do. Yeah.
Just quick, Joe, I know you're keeping on a TikTok, on YouTube. Prairie Dodgers, just want to say hello. Thanks for joining us, saying hello in the chat. I want to shout
Cindy,
it out because I knew you'd be excited,
Cindy,
Joe.
we love you, Cindy. I know, Prairie Dodgers. We love you, Cindy. Brilliant. Thank you so much. I can't see the YouTube, so really I'm relying on you.
That's why I was shouting it out. I thought you'd enjoy that.
Yeah, I can't see the YouTube because it's just I can't. But yeah, if you can, fabulous. Welcome, Cindy. That's wonderful for our fourth birthday. That's brilliant. I want to give a shout out on TikTok actually to Anna Plastics. Said I sent weights because you are a strong-minded individual. I thought that was lovely actually. Thank you so much, Anna Plastics. I love that. Thank you. It's really great, the love that's coming out. We're getting likes and everything. So, Cindy, don't forget to like if you're on YouTube. If you're on YouTube, please like. It gets the algorithm out there. So Lee's in charge.
100%
anyway,
like, hit that like button, hit subscribe. Even if you never come back again, which obviously I encourage you do, that helps us with our algorithm. It's all brilliant stuff. Some good feedback there as well, saying great insight into yourself. So thank you for that. I'm going to tell a quick little story here, and then I'm going to ask another question to you guys. So for me, I like NLP stuff. So anchor moment is one of the phrases I use, which is, a moment you can pin your memories and your thoughts to and lean back to and keep yourself in a moment. And one for me was a story you told a couple of weeks ago, Joe. So when we first started this and we sat in a nondescript pub chain that normally has unique carpet and excellent toilets, you
can say it.
Okay. I know we can. I just like to do the whole joke like with a BBC thing, but again, it's only been 4 years, so you probably don't quite get these things yet, Jay. So we were with Wetherspoons, and we were talking about what's going on. You were showing your videos and what you do out there and the content. We caught up on and off for a while, and we were having a chat and talking about your mission for coaching and what you were doing, and that's where I just started listening to some podcast stuff, and that's where I said we should do a podcast. And the whole mission, Joe, was to get you out there. That was my goal, was because I know what you can do. You've done it for me. I want you to do that for as many people as possible. You can tell excited because my hands are going everywhere. And we've been on this journey for 4 years. 3 years and 49 weeks into that journey, you were out at a very random pub in a hilariously named place of Lower Dicker. Was it Lower Dicker or Upper Dicker?
It's Upper Dicker.
Okay, even better. Even better.
Oh,
Didn't even set that
it was
one
near
up.
the head. Right. Okay.
I thought the upper was more near the base.
I'm not even getting into this conversation, you two. I'm just going to stay around. This is your time.
He was in Tank Town.
Nice. Right,
so you were there, you were in the cafe, you were talking to someone, and you got approached by a complete stranger who only by the sound of the voice of Noya, said, "Are you Joe Noya-Inspiration Nation?" From that conversation and what we wanted to do to you in a random place with a random person and they said to you, didn't they? They said while they're working, they listen to this. They listen to what we're talking about. Listen to which for me is just phenomenal. I think that's, yeah, I don't know how much more of a button I can put on it, but for me to have got to that point just inside of where we are now, and that's what's happening outside of people who talk with us on social media and comments we've got and messages and everything else, that's a real solid moment for me that it's very pleasing and just very timely with it just coming up to our 4 years.
And I think with that as well, I just want to say thanks to everybody that's putting the message out there. So if you're
100%.
watching and everything like that, this only happens by people passing the word. So actually, just a bit of context, that story is really good. I interviewed Ian Meacher, who's on the who's a local barber, and passing on the message. Oh, check out, Jose Inspiration Nation. Check out the podcast. And then that's how it happened. I was just trying to track it all back. And it's just incredible, the knock-on effect, what do they call it, serendipitous nature of all this. And, if you're watching this, please share it, like Lee says, share it with family and friends, because we don't know what's going to happen again, right? Someone's going to recognise Ryan, someone's going to recognise Lee. It's what I want. I want that to happen. I want that to happen. And, do the tours and all that. That'd be fabulous. But no, I love this. I love this, Lee. Yeah, carry on, sorry.
No, it's good. This is a reflective, self-indulgent episode for us. We thank everyone for listening. We will get to more advice in future weeks, but this is, as we talk about, and in all seriousness, looking down the mountain, reflecting on where you've been, having gratitude for what you've achieved, not just always looking for it, is a really, really important thing, and that's what we're living and breathing and doing right now. So my next question.
Go on.
You like to do takeaways, Joe. We've done it in individual episodes. And I'll say 3, but it could be 1, it could be 27. But what would be your biggest 3 takeaways, putting you on the spot?
3
from overall learnings for yourself in this whole 4-year journey?
All right, I've got 2 that's come to mind. There's another one. Oh, right, okay. I just had to think about that. I had to write it down because it's a big question. Isn't it? It's
fantastic audio and live viewing, by the way, Jane.
Yeah, I was just writing it down because coaching's about having a reflective moment and really thinking about the question. I know it doesn't produce great audio, but you need to do this. We all need to do it. And I was trying to think, okay, what is it? What are the big 3? So the number 1 was when I talked about the 12-hour walk, right? And I had a lot of things going on. My mum passing away and all this stuff. And one of the biggest, actually, the number 1 thing is to trust myself more. I've learned to trust myself more. Like when I do videos, to actually just put the content out there and be truthful and be open and just be myself. So if you see me on the podcast, I am myself. This is it. If I'm doing training, this is me. I'm not a different version. It might be like, you might tweak it a little bit because you're in a corporate environment, but you will still see the true me. I'll still be very passionate. That'll be me. So trust myself, like put myself out there and just do it. Just that's what I was really scared of when I was younger, and I've embraced that. Number 2 is identity. This is really because I wanted to be a coach, but I didn't believe I was a coach. So I had to get the identity to be a coach. So that's when I started, because I told the story in episode 1 about going to a free weekend. I'm sure that I mentioned that. I'll have to go back. A free weekend, and that's whole stage. I'd heard about coaching, and then I went on a free coaching weekend, and that's what really solidified everything for me. I had Anthony Robbins' book in my hand. Which one was it? It was Unlimited Power, and it was so powerful, and it was about going, right, Jose, I am now a coach. I am now a coach because I didn't believe it. I am now a coach. I'm helping people, and that's what started the identity. And that's one of the biggest learnings I've got. So trusting myself, identity. The last one is belief. So the reason I had a big gap, I don't know if I told the story, but I was doing YouTube for a long time. I then stopped. I was on and off doing it. I didn't have you guys at the time, right? I think if I had you guys, I probably would have just continued. But I think having you guys on board with this is just helping me continue, right? You guys are so supportive in terms of just keep going. And so I had a big break, and then that's when I'm going to give Evan Carmichael big kudos for this. I was on Instagram, and I told you there's this video. It says, "You're ready." Just go. You're ready. So sometimes you wait too long to just, I've got to do his reading. I've got to do... No, you just got to go and start and do something, the smallest thing. We talked about those 1%, didn't we? I think, Lee, you talked about it. Just start. Just do it. And actually, Evan Carmichael is the believe person. If you haven't checked him out, check him out on Instagram, YouTube. It's massive. It's about belief. So believing in yourself. And I've done, and you guys would remember that I passed it to Lee, and Lee goes, do you know how many pages you sent me of this book to do this whole exercise? And Lee, I just basically spammed Lee with pages of this book, with the exercise I'd done about getting where I needed to be, right? And the last thing is that it's connected with some great people. Now I'm working with Mark Drager, right? And this is all part of this personal development, self-development. And by doing this, trusting myself, having the identity, and then believing in it, those are the three despite everything's gone, I am in the best place of my life. I'm doing the things like this podcast. I've lost a ton of weight doing tennis. I'm really stretching myself. I'm willing to throw myself at things which I wouldn't have done before. And those three things, trust myself, identity, and belief, are the three biggest takeaways since the podcast has started.
Love those, Joe. Fantastic. And there's some really, really good stuff in there that I think are ones for me as well, but I'm not going to repeat your ones. So Ryan, as you had to disappear to get your lobster thermidor room service or whatever it was, it's top 3 learnings
I love that.
for yourself personally from the podcast overall. So I'll mention mine to give you a chance to think on it, and then we'll come back to you. So 3 for me, and this I could probably list off 100 if I wanted to, but top 3 things that stick in my mind and are there, and whenever I think about them, I resonate back to the podcast. 1 is my journey into gratitude and mindfulness. Now, there's someone outside of our group here who put me on this journey, someone I worked with, but I think doing the podcast and talking through it and realising how much of it is there, and actually realising how much of it I think I used to do and then I stopped doing, that's a whole other episode we'll talk about, but the whole mindfulness gratitude thing and putting it into practice and being aware of it is one of my big things that I've taken away for myself. Number 2, I would say, Joe, is consistency. The consistency is king. If you do something when, every day or every week or every month or every hour, whatever it is, but being consistent, you're 90% of the way there, and whatever you want to do, just be consistent. And that the results happen. If you do the things you're going to do, it will happen. And where it goes wrong for people, where it has gone for me in the past personally, is where I haven't been consistent, and it's key. I see it in all places of my life now. And number 3, and this is the biggest one for me, Joe, and it's probably not the biggest thing in my arsenal of what I do or how I do things or everything, but I think it's the biggest because it's the first thing I really consciously remember where you said something that really challenged a mindset for me that has really stuck. And that is focus on the journey, not the outcome. And again, you've got to have a goal. You've got to be working towards something. And I was talking to someone about this recently, but by focusing on just the journey, what's the step in front of you? Make sure you're going in the right direction, but focus on that next step. Because actually, if it starts to go wrong, you can change direction, you can pivot, you can adapt. Whereas if you just focus on the outcome and you're not getting there, and I think that my illustrator, and I referred to it earlier as the Evan Carmichael scale, which I think is brilliant because he's obviously the person who put you on this journey. But we didn't look at this for years. We in fact went through a period, Joe, didn't we, where we were growing this, and we actually said, let's just not look at the stats. Let's not look at listens or views or whatever. Let's just do it. And I think we went through 6 months where we didn't look. We now do, and we bop in and out, but it's not the primary focus. But over the 4 years, we can now track our growth against the person you emulate, the person that put you on this path to doing it, and we are on track with that. But I'd say we're largely on track with it because we're not trying to be on track with it. And the journey thing is probably my personal biggest takeaway, just because it was a real shift in mentality. So they're my 3. And over to you, Ryan, with our 5 minutes left to go. Oh no, we're right. We've got 7 minutes and 43 seconds. You fill them up.
Yep.
7 minutes. I think be kind is the first one that I've learned from the 4 years of doing this. And we spent a lot of time talking about how things affect us and what we can do to be better about receiving feedback or situations in life, and some of us have had to deal with offering out for things and or things that are tough, and others of us have had to deal with that. And there's no line between what's fair to receive and what's fair to give out. And I think how people perceive things and how we've taught ourselves to understand how people perceive things are so different now, that just understanding that we need to be kind in any scenario in any way that we can is super important. I also want to touch on kind of it's in a similar vein, but it's different in the sense of not judging people as well, which is something that Lee, you went through quite heavily last year, and you spent a long time I can't think of the word, reflecting on and practicing kind of not thinking that people were out for you, and that was something that was a big deal for you. And I think that's something that Joe and I both benefited from, because we understood that you took the time to consider where people were actually coming from in terms of their responses, in terms of their actions, and understanding that it isn't all about you and the response that you receive. It's more so about them and the information and the emotion they want to put out. And I think that's it's really important to understand that the world doesn't revolve around us as people; it revolves with us as people. And we're a very small cog in a worldwide machine that helps the world kind of spin. And a third one, I think it's okay to not know what path you're on, and just to have a goal and work out how you get there step by step. I think something that I've learned massively through this is that it's good to have these huge goals at the end of what you want to do, but breaking them down into workable, sizable chunks and ticking them off to give you progress is almost as important and as relevant as taking huge steps that tick off half of that. It only makes you a better person, a better candidate, a better friend, and a better family member if you understand something wholeheartedly, rather than skipping your way through it and just assuming that you know how things work. I think that's something that the three of us probably have benefited from. You two probably more than me, because you've got more life experience, but I think it's something that we've all benefited from in some way or another, that as long as we reach the destination, it doesn't matter if it takes us a week or a year, as long as we get there, that's the important thing.
I love that. And actually, Ryan, it's not comparison, isn't it? I mean, you're saying comparison is the thief of joy. We're all on our own journey, right? To quote Ryan, right? That was yours. No, I love that. That's lovely. Lovely reflections there. Absolutely loved it. Yeah, that non-judgment. Actually, it's something I still write in my journal. Actually, I wrote it this morning. So, yeah, love that. That's
good. I didn't even think of, other people picking up when I was talking about it. But you're right, Ryan. For last year's, for me especially, that was a big thing. And it's just that consistent thinking again that drives those outcomes. So back to the starting piece on this.
Lee, hold that thought. I'm just going to just disappear for a sec. But okay. You carry on, right?
I'll carry on. Back to the starting thought is, what has this done for us as people, and why, where I said I wouldn't be where I am now without it, and these sort of things are why, because it really has pushed that thinking. Joe changing his camera has really screwed up our YouTube live, because we've switched places on the screen. So if you're watching now, do not be confused. Ryan is still Ryan, not Joe.
That could be Joe.
Oh, look at this. Here we go. I thought this was what's coming. For those listening, ready? There is a birthday cake on screen. We're not singing. We're not singing.
Yeah, we are. 3, 2, 1.
No.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Inspiration Nation podcast, Liam Ryan.
And Joe.
Happy birthday. Oh, and Joe. Jose, to you. Ready, blow the candles in, guys. 3, 2, 1.
Oh, Ryan, come on, you've got to get involved in that bit. There we go.
There you go. You can blow on the bottom. There you go. There you go, all the way. Look at that.
Look at that. Is that a red velvet cake there as well, Joe?
It is red velvet, nice. Yes.
If there's anything I know, it's cake.
Oh.
You do know your cakes. Nice. I tell you what. It's nice. Red velvet. I'd pass some to you, Ryan, but you're a little bit far away. And you, Lee, so,
Thanks
Anyway,
for doing that, Joe. That was really nice.
10,000 kilometres, not that far.
No, 10,000.
And guys, thank you for the reflections. Hopefully this has been good cementing the things we've learned. It's been fantastic 4 years. Here's to the next 4 years. And of course, everyone out there, we absolutely thank everyone for supporting us. Some great interactions on TikTok. People dropping off saying they're going to come back again, which is great to see.
Oh, fabulous.
Prairie Dodgers, thank you for interacting with us on YouTube. Appreciate you watching. Everyone who does, again, TikTok and YouTube, feel free to drop in the comments. We massively, massively appreciate all of that. And of course, podcast platforms, watching on YouTube as well, through the archive. Hit subscribe, hit like, tell friends and family. All of that great stuff is what helps us in those mythical algorithms. And finally, inspirationnation.org.uk, everything to do with the podcast, merchandise, coaching service, newsletter, all great stuff. Sign up if you like Joe and you cannot get enough of Joe. Sign up to the newsletter and hopefully we can take you on that journey to enough Joe. I don't know where I'm going with this. You know what I'm saying. It's a good ad. I ran out there.
Enough Jose. Bloody love it. I love it. No, I've loved
4
it.
years,
It's been a
guys.
really-
4 years. Next week we start the first episode of year 5 of the podcast. That in itself is a massive achievement. So I want to thank both of you personally for everything we've done on this, and I look forward to it continuing.
Yeah, I want to say thank you to both you two for your support. Always, pushing, making sure we do these things and these things happen. So yeah, let's keep going forever. Inspiration Nation forever. That's what I see.
And all that's left for me to do now is count us down and say 3, 2, 1. Inspiration Nation. Catch you guys later.
Catch you guys later.
Catch you guys later.
Thank you so much, TikTok. Oh, there's a lot of love on TikTok. Thank you so much. Anna Clastics, you have been amazing. You are just